Hey, what's up, pro wrestling fans? Welcome to the Nation's Corner. I am Front Row, and joining me tonight, we have RA, Too Sweet Neil, and on location, Mongrovian Mike. What's up, people?
What's up?
What's up, everyone?
What up, everybody? I'm live from VPW Wrestling tonight. It's the Rumble is going on here, the Gold Rush Rumble, and I'm here live. I didn't want to miss it, but I needed to fill in on the show, so doing double duty. I said duty. Until you guys need me.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Man, we got people everywhere this weekend. We've got Mongrovian Mike at VPW. We've got all of our friends in Baltimore for Baltimore Celeb Fest tomorrow. I think the Busted Open crew's out there this weekend as well. We have friends in Mexico,
Texas, and Mexico,
everywhere. There's stuff going on everywhere. But I'm sitting here talking to you. So,
but we're here talking to you.
So, an eventful week, as it always is. There's a bunch of stuff that I want to cover. Big stuff happened this week. I know everyone wants to talk about the Bray Wyatt stuff, and I've got a lot of thoughts on this. I know you guys do too. But before we dive into that, one of the topics this week on Friday, when Dave and Thunder on Busted Open were covering, the topic this week was around deathmatch wrestling. I'm personally not a huge fan of deathmatch wrestling. However, having said that, I think I've spoken on this show about I've seen some matches in GCW, especially with Nick Gage and Onita and people like that, where they tell a good story. They use the violence to tell a story. And I think even Nick Gage said it on the show on Friday when he was a guest, that there's a lot of garbage out there. There's a lot of trash wrestling, trash deathmatch wrestling. So I wanted to get your opinions on where do you guys stand on the whole topic, and what are some of your maybe one or two of your favorite matches if you have any. So let's go, Ari. We'll go with you first.
I don't really have a favorite because, like you, I'm not a fan of them. But if I probably had to pick, I'd probably, of course, say Mick Foley and Terry Funk. But beside that aside, I don't have a problem watching the death matches so much. It's that when it's a good match, it's that all the extra, the glass and I mean, it doesn't have to have all the light tubes, all the dust, all the glass, all the cutting. And I understand it's a death match, but it can be done without being. I mean, Mick Foley and Terry Funk, for example, put on a hell of a death match, and it still didn't have as much glass and shit as they're using now.
Yeah, I would agree. How about you, Neil?
To the point of the death match on the show, Damian Abraham brought it up. It was earlier this year. It was Jun Kasai and El Desperado. They had a very good, Japanese psychology, strong death match, but just other one like they've talked about, like the one that they got Gabby to watch, Terry Funk and Onita, and that exploding barbed wire death match, like the one that they tried to recreate in AEW during the pandemic. That one is a great one. I watched. I wasn't into it. I'm still not into it, but I can watch it. But that one would be one for me.
Yeah, I think for me, I've seen, so about a year and a half ago, I had a conversation with Sam Roberts about death matches, and he's a big fan, and he sort of turned me on, and through you guys too, turned me on to the GCW stuff. My impression was that GCW was all death matches, so I just never watched it. And then he said, look, you have to watch this pay-per-view. It's going to be great. And I forget which show it was, but I watched it, and there was one death match at the end of the show, and the rest of it was either just really physical stuff. I saw like Ninja Mac and people like that doing all these amazing things. I was like, okay, this is a buffet of wrestling. So I've been a fan of the company largely. We've seen a lot of our, a lot of the people that we support, Effie and Thunder Rosa and Gringo Loco and all these great people have come through the doors of GCW. So I sort of take it with a grain of salt. And I will say 2 matches that they had, Nick Gage versus Alley Catch,
Yep.
and Nick Gage versus Dark Sheik. And in both cases, the women went over. So if you're going to have a violent death match, you really want, the newcomer or the female or whoever it is, you want to put them over. And Nick Gage did a really good job. They got put through their paces. It was bloody and violent and all that stuff. Not as over the top as I've seen in some cases. Some of the independent death matches are like way over the top for me. But especially the Dark Sheik match, I think it was 50% violence, right? It wasn't quite over the top, but it was, and she looked like $1 million. And he even gave her the ring. Like, he didn't even do his normal speech. Like, he just gave her the ring and left. So I like that. So if I had to pick one, maybe it's recency bias. Yeah, the stuff in Japan, was what it was, and I was just never a fan of those things. But so yeah, I'm interested. I'm glad that people enjoy those things. I hope that people figure out a way to do some of it safely. But you really can't do a lot of it safely. You just have to hope for the best, right? Right. And I think Damien even said that on the show this week. And Nick Gage said it too. Like, this isn't fake. Like, these are real light tubes and real tables and panes of glass, and people will get hurt. So you have to do it in the safest manner possible. But generally not for me, not something I seek out, but it is what it is. Mike, you have some opinion on this one?
Oh, what were you talking about? Because I couldn't hear anything while I was hooking into the matches. I love death matches, but I was trying to explain to everybody that they have to work for me, and I don't know how much the light tubes. I don't get the light tubes. I really don't understand that. They're like the kendo sticks of extreme matches, but everything else is pretty cool, and it's kind of dangerous though. But hey, that's what I like. More blood, the better.
Yeah. So, and there's a difference between a death match and hardcore matches, right? Yeah. So, we were in San Antonio when Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa had their cage match, which was essentially a hardcore match, tables and chairs and thumbtacks and all that stuff. And for anybody who's doubts the serious nature of this, go hang out with somebody after a match like that. We were fortunate enough to spend some time with Thunder after that match. She was in a lot of pain and was having a difficult time walking. Like, that stuff is no effing joke. So credit to the people who want to do it, and I hope nobody gets seriously injured, because that stuff does sort of happen. All right, so let's move on. We're just going to touch on a few things from Extreme Rules from last week. A couple of things. I wanted to get your take on Ronda Rousey beating Liv Morgan. Obviously, Ronda is now the champion. I like this version of Ronda. I like this version of seeing she came to the ring in her gi as a nod to Judo Jean LaBelle, her pink gi, and seeing her do what Ronda does, not pro wrestling, but like that hard-hitting submission expert. And it was a decent match, but like at the end of the day, she beat the shit out of Liv Morgan and took the title, which is kind of what I was expecting. And I was glad to see it. How do you guys feel about that?
I like it. I like it. The Liv Morgan character wasn't getting over with me. I wasn't buying into it. I'm happy that she's great that she won the title. She got a reign, this and that, but I just wasn't buying into her character. And Ronda, I can believe that could beat anybody in WWE aside from maybe like Brock Lesnar or Shayna Baszler
or Bobby, yeah,
or Bobby Lashley, yeah, or even like Matt Riddle, that type. But good for Liv. Glad Ronda won. See where Ronda goes and how she does with this, and see how Liv bounces back.
Yeah, even when Liv won it, I mean, we were saying then that this, how is she beating Ronda Rousey of all people?
Yeah,
I mean,
but those finishes were kind of questionable anyway, right?
Yeah,
they were clean, but not really.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I agree with you. I was just glad to see this. I don't know what's next for Ronda. I think Ronda is best as a heel, so keep her going. I don't know whether it'll be interesting to see when Charlotte comes back, if she challenges Ronda, because that would be a good matchup, but they're both heels, so I don't know. We'll see. But I did really like this match. I'm not a fan of strap matches, so I didn't watch the Karrion Kross Drew McIntyre match. I was glad to see Karrion Kross win, because then we would go forward into SmackDown this week and see Karrion Kross get beat up outside by Drew McIntyre, which took him out of that match. And we'll get to that match in a minute. But I like what they're doing with Karrion Kross, and I like what they're doing with Drew McIntyre, showing us a more vicious, street clothes, rough and tumble, not just the pro wrestler, but like the big scary dude. So I'm glad they got there eventually this week. But I really wanted to get your opinion on this Fight Pit match, because we talked about this on the show last week. I was a little hesitant. Like, I didn't know how Seth Rollins was going to fare in a match like this. Right. Because, Matt Riddle is a former UFC guy. Like, he's a
legitimate fighter.
Yeah. And if you guys saw pictures this week, and Neil, I think you shared this picture with us, Matt Riddle led a class this week with some pretty big names, didn't he?
Yeah.
Who was in that picture, Neil?
There was Matt Riddle. There was Io Shirai. There was Sumi Sakai, and then of course Murder Grandpa himself, one of my favorites, Minoru Suzuki, who is just amazing, and I'm happy that he's here doing another tour of the States. Shayna Baszler was in that class as well. It was just great to see, and just the fact that you have these people that us as fans are like, oh no, they work for this company or they work for that company. They're not supposed to be friendly and get together and hang out and, do stuff like that. But really, that's just what us fans think. They're all friends. They all know each other. They all hung out. They've all spent time. It was great to see. And it was fun to just see like the post workout picture and like the smiles and the happiness and everything when they get together, because they're all friends and they just want to hang out and see their friends, just like we do when we go on different trips.
Yep, agreed. But what a class that must have been.
Oh yeah, that was insane.
I can't imagine being like a regular weekly student and just showing up to class and be like, wait, what's going on here?
Oh yeah.
All right, I want to give a quick shout out to everybody in the chat. I see Guido, Money Mark, Brian, John, Mrs.
Mac Davis is in there.
Mac Davis.
Front row, you can't forget.
John Bay.
John in South Jersey, I know he's probably not on, but he's at the CCW show in Delaware right now.
Oh, he is? I thought he was in Baltimore. Did he go from Baltimore to the CCW show?
Yeah, he said
we're all over the place, man.
He said he was
my God.
to the
Okay.
CCW show and then going back, because it's only like an hour or so, maybe a few minutes over an hour from Baltimore to the show in Delaware.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And that's just a random weekend for this group.
Nation's Corner on location.
Yeah, here's random. Here's random. We're gonna see this guy next week. Oh shit! That's Dr. Cool.
What's up?
Good job.
I'm talking to him. I'll be seeing him wrestle later. Hopefully he wins. I will win. I got you. Yeah. Really, man.
Yeah.
Hotel California, right? Exactly. I'm booking rooms. Booking rooms in Hotel California.
Nice.
That's funny.
So yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool picture, and I saw that go across social media. And of course, Matt Riddle won, but Seth Rollins really stepped up in this match. I thought we saw it, because I don't know what his training history is like, but clearly from this match, he showed that he has trained more than a week or two. He did a lot of submission stuff, some good striking, some counters, and some reversals. And he hung with Matt Riddle, and Matt Riddle is no joke when that bell rings. So I liked it a lot. But of course, what we are all talking about on Monday was what happened at the end of the show, right? So we saw the logo come up in typical Triple H NXT fashion. The logo comes up, the pay-per-view's over, commentary starts talking as if they're off the air, which was a nice touch. kudos to Michael Cole, who in the recent weeks has been absolutely outstanding on commentary.
Oh yeah.
And then we see spotlights on all the different iterations of the puppets, but in human form.
First was
Huskus, and then Mercy, and then Ramblin' Rabbit, and then Abby, and the Fiend. So I want to dive into this a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit about this from SmackDown as well, when Bray made his actual appearance. These characters are, and I think Sam Roberts talked about this on his show, and he's talked about it on the podcast a lot. Actually, you know what? Let's hear from the man himself. Hang on one second. Check this out.
The puppets, to me, were not just the insecurities of Bray Wyatt. Ultimately, the Firefly Funhouse was a journey into the labyrinth of the darkest parts of your mind. You're going to find your insecurities there. But also, when you look at it, Huskus, Mercy, Ramblin' Rabbit, Abby the Witch, those are the ghosts of Bray Wyatt's past. Those are the ghosts that he leaves behind, but our ghosts follow us everywhere. So what I found really interesting is seeing the Fiend in the crowd with all those other entities that were once puppets, puts the Fiend on the list of the ghosts of Bray's past. The Fiend is now something that represents a part of Bray Wyatt that is no longer who he considers himself to be.
Okay, and a shout out, thanks to Sam Roberts for giving us permission to use that clip tonight. I talked to Sam earlier, and he's a big supporter of the show. But he broke down the different iterations, the different puppets, and what they all meant. And so we'll run through this real quick. Huskus is a representation of Bray on NXT when he was Husky Harris. Mercy the Buzzard is, an iteration of the first Bray Wyatt, Follow the Buzzards. Ramblin' Rabbit is a representation of his rambling promos that were sort of confusing the audience. Abby the Witch, obviously, Sister Abigail, and now we have the Fiend. So we have these 5 ghosts or, different personalities of Bray, and now, of course, we have the current version of Bray, which we saw on SmackDown. How did you guys did this
Wyatt 6 or Wyndham 6?
Yeah, so Wyatt 6 is his Twitter handle, and he changed his Twitter handle back in May. Way long before any of this stuff was happening.
Yep.
So this has been in the works for a long time. How did you guys?
Well, actually, when he first changed it, he changed it to Wyndham. He changed it to Wyatt 6 later.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. All right. RA's our resident rabbit hole expert, and he really followed everything to a T on that. Kudos to RA because it kept about 10 or 15 of us in the group apprised of it, and we didn't have to do any of that stuff. I still would have been searching the first freaking Q code. But as far as Bray Wyatt goes, this story, I'm in all the way. I'm in over my head, right in deep, man. And with this storyline, between this storyline and the head of the table storyline with Sami Zayn, we got the most of serious, and we got the zany side, no pun intended. But it's SmackDown is the show to watch. You know what? I didn't even really want to watch Rampage after it, and I love Rampage. It was hard to get into that after Bray Wyatt. So real, it's amazing.
Yeah, I agree, and I think we all did the same thing. We usually switch over from SmackDown to Rampage, and it took me a full match at Rampage to sort of redirect my focus because we were on social media, we were talking on Zoom, we were in the Discord, we were everywhere talking about all the stuff that we had seen.
Looking stuff up.
Well, yeah, and I know I see John Bay saying, it's a little bit confusing what we saw on SmackDown. And so let's talk about that a little bit. On SmackDown, we saw Bray come out through the door. He came out and he gave a heartfelt promo saying, "This is me. This is the first time I've been able to speak to you as myself." And he sounded very genuine. He was very heartfelt and sort of nervous, which is a new thing for him, right? So, Neil, do you want to read the what the the evil entity, which we don't know what the name of that evil entity is yet, up on the Tron came out at the end of Bray's heartfelt promo.
Yes. It says, "Oh, little one, come with me. Your life is done. Forget the future. Forget the past. Life is over. Breathe your last. You got no idea who you're dealing with, but you will."
And
That's
then, of
what
course,
I could make out from. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. They're just the.
that is,
bottom
and
part of
then
tweet.
there was the
That-
evil laugh and the repeat of "but you will."
Yes,
Mhm.
but that was what the mask, because that face with that you see, that's the mask that he had on
That
when
he
he
took
came
off.
out at Extreme Rules and he took off. So who knows what that is or who it is.
So I will agree with John Bay in the chat that that's a little bit confusing. If I had only seen SmackDown and seen the interaction between Bray in the ring and the evil character on the Titantron, I would think, okay, we're dealing with two entities now. We don't really know where this is going. But for Bray to appear at the pay-per-view with the mask, take the mask off, it's him. I have every bit of confidence that this is all part of the story that they're telling us, and
It could
and please take your time with this. Don't rush through this, right?
It could be a
Absolutely.
reverse of the Fiend situation where we see the Fiend when something needs to happen, the mask shows up and the glitch, and then Bray's character switches or whatever, or a minion comes in or something.
Hmm.
Who knows? The possibilities are endless. It is Bray's mind after all.
But there was
That's
so much hype going up to this week, the pay-per-view and Bray's return. For you guys, did it live up to the hype?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I liked all the characters from Extreme Rules, and just like the different entities, like Sam said on the thing. What drew me in personally was the NXT original one, that swamp
Oscars.
guy.
Or Mercy.
Yeah, the swamp guy from Louisiana, and the rocking chair and the voice and everything. That was great. But this Friday was amazing though too.
Who is taken from a previous WWF figure named Percy, a personality named Percy.
Well, that was based on Waylon Mercy, which was played by Dan Spivey,
Yeah,
which
Percy.
was inspired by the Robert De Niro character from Cape
Right.
Fear. So it's this whole arc of this evolution of a character. So
Mhm.
it's deep. There's a lot to it. I'm really, really
As with most of Bray's characters.
yeah. Well, and I think the initial run of the Fiend, I think they rushed him being in the ring too soon. They rushed putting a title on him too soon. This character, whatever this is, this evil, I would like to see this over time terrorize the locker room, terrorize people, whatever they have to do to, get us invested in the duality of these two. Mike?
Guys, I just want to break in here. I hear the final countdown. I'm not sure if Daniel Bryan is going to make an appearance here. And also we have the EMS people. They're frantically working on John Cena, but I can't see him. How's John Cena doing? I can't see how he's doing. Is he all right? John Cena?
He's crazy.
I don't see him.
Crazy.
You can't see me. I had to break the joke to the young lady here, but she got it right after I explained it.
He's crazy.
Say hi.
He's
What's
crazy.
What's your name?
My name is Rhea.
This is Sheree,
Hi,
and
Sheree.
she's in it with the EMS, the EMTs here, and they just
Welcome
in
to the
case
nation's
for-
corner.
Yes, they say
Yes.
we say welcome to the nation's
Nice to
corner.
meet you.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's crazy.
We got no, well, you know what? We have, let's see, we have Mr. What is your name?
Now I have
Mr.
to update
Edward
the-
Hawk. Mr. Ed Hawk. He's working on John Cena as well right now. That a little, my friend. There he is. Thank you for all you guys do. I know tonight is it's a good night for you. But, I know you guys we appreciate you. Thank you.
Man, they've got everybody there.
You're
See, now
crazy.
now I have to update the description of the video to include our guest.
Yeah, John Cena was on the show. Shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna update it right now.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff happened on Raw. I'm not going to go through everything, but I am just so still incredibly interested in everything Sami Zayn is doing, the Jey Uso stuff, which we saw follow all the way through to SmackDown. I like that the Bloodline is on both shows because the dynamic between Jey and Sami is fascinating.
That's gold.
Even MJF, again, also shout out to Sam Roberts, who did an absolutely incredible interview with MJF. Go look up that interview on his YouTube channel, Not Sam Wrestling, and it's about an hour and 20 minutes long, and it's hands down the best MJF interview I've ever seen. It's phenomenal. But MJF talks about like how good Sami Zayn is and what a level he's operating at right now, which I thought was pretty cool. Again, Dave mentioned on the show last week that this damage control thing isn't hitting with him. I have to agree. Like every week, they're doing stuff that I just don't care about. And I am a huge fan of everybody in that group, especially Io Shirai. I've met Bailey when she was at NXT. She was just so nice. And, of course, Dakota Kai. But why do I care? Like, what are they doing? What's their purpose? You know?
It's like they just needed to throw them together and do something and get them out of catering, and that's what they did.
Yeah,
well, I'm sure they have a plan. You know, the group was debuted before Vince left, so I'm sure Triple H is trying to figure out how to direct them into something meaningful. And I'm patient. Like I'm not going to cancel.
He is building a lot of different factions, as it were, from so a lot of stables for 3 or 4 person groups.
Yep. And it was a big week for returns. Obviously, we saw the return of Brock Lesnar, which I thought was it shocked the shit out of me because I was like, this isn't where I would have put him, but I'm intrigued. He's gonna face Bobby, maybe, but so he softened up Bobby, and then Bobby then goes and loses to Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins hasn't held a title in WWE in almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I didn't even realize it until I saw somebody post on social media. I was like, oh my God, that's insane. Like this guy's been a top main event guy forever, and he hasn't held a title in like 950 something days. So
this sounds similar to a storyline that played out a few years ago when 2 individuals from a group left it and left just one person there, and he had to be shit on for a while and then come back and won a title and started an immaculate career. And then I think he married the guy's daughter that ran the company.
Yeah, I heard that. It sounds cliquish to me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But then we also saw the return of the Good Brothers, and the segment that they did with Finn and AJ was done so well. I really thought that they were reforming some version of the Bullet Club, the way that Finn and AJ were interacting, and then AJ announces that, hey, you aren't the family I was talking about. Good Brothers come out. What I found most fascinating about this, and Neil, I want to get your opinion on this because they came out with their new shirts, but their new shirts have kanji on them. They're Japanese shirts.
Yep.
You think we're going to see the New Japan version of them, the non-comedic, real serious in-ring?
I really hope so, and I have faith in them showing them the Good Brothers from Japan, the tag team that got them from New Japan to WWE the first time they came in. Because as Dave said it, as other wrestling fans have said it, myself, Ezra, shout out Ezra, the people that watched them in New Japan before they came the first time, they were just, no nonsense.
Completely different team.
Physical, hard-hitting, and I think this is their redemption. They came back. Yeah, it's a surprise because Carl Anderson holds the never openweight title in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and has a defense of that title on
You mean
November
Neil?
5th.
Neil, are
in
you
Japan.
saying that? Are you saying that? Are you saying that the Good Brothers never did like squash matches where they both got pinned one on top of each other? And never had
No.
those Christmas gimmick matches in New Japan.
They didn't do that stuff in
No.
Japan. No,
No,
they
don't. They don't
They ain't
do
gonna
that.
be doing any of that crap neither.
not
now.
in the
They ain't doing
Japan
that
not in
ever
the
again.
Japan wrestling they were in. They don't.
Yeah.
The Japanese
no.
wrestling they were doing, they didn't do that.
No, I really do feel that this is going to be a more serious, more Good Brothers, Bullet Club esque, tag team that they showed while they were in New Japan, and that they got to show while they had their stint in Impact and on the Independence and Japan before they had come back on Monday night. I'm hopeful and I have high hopes for it. So just wait and see. I did love the shirt. I'm gonna have to buy the shirt just because the shirt's amazing. But hopefully,
Well, it's technically a Bullet Club shirt, and well, we all know how you are about Bullet Club shirts.
yes. You do. You all know I have about maybe like 20 or 30 of them. But
Okay,
I'm
so
very
I have
You may or may not have the complete collection of Bullet Club shirts.
yeah, that's
okay, so I want to ask you about that because now we have AEW has a relationship with New Japan. We've seen an exchange of talents a lot this year. Now we have a title holder from New Japan returning to WWE. I think he has a match on November 5th, right?
yes, November 5th in Japan for New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's against Hikuleo, who is the younger brother of Gorillas of Destiny, Tamatanga Tangaloa, but he's the tallest out of them. So he was on AEW Dynamite against Lance Archer. Lance Archer's not a small guy, but it just shows you how big his brother is. But
Is Hikuleo related to Kimono Wanaleo?
No,
Who
he
invited
didn't
him?
drop
who
the
invited
ECW
who
arena
invited
either.
him to the show today? But
But
I think so. I think so because years ago, before the pandemic, there was an initial talk of NXT trying to expand and hit like every continent. Like they did NXT, they did NXT UK. They were going to try and do NXT Japan, but they never got their footing for it. And then the pandemic happened, and Front Row, as you know, because you've been to Japan, they're very strict. They're very strict. The people that live there, whether you're foreign or not, they follow the rules and they follow what the government says. So I think now that that just this week on the 11th, Japan opened up to foreign people visa free, or if you have a passport, you need that. You need to show that you're vaccinated. If not, you need a PCR test. But the fact that they're starting to loosen the rules, there's certain shows now that are full capacity, and you can cheer. They haven't been able to vocalize their cheering or their displeasure in over 2.5 years. So that's great. So, but I hope that we can get, maybe they get NXT Europe off the ground next year. Then maybe they can move there, which is great. And the Bullet Club, the Good Brothers, AJ, Finn, all those people that I mentioned, I think they might be a good help to escort WWE into Japan so they can get an NXT Japan.
Oh, I like that. And I thought it was nice to see New Japan World retweeting WWE tweets.
Oh yeah, no, that was mind blowing right there.
Well, MJF's retweeting WWE tweets too.
Yeah, but that's all in that is great, but it's all in character. This is company to company.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
This is crazy. And I was shocked to see that.
I mean, the real
Well,
the last true forbidden door is between AEW and WWE. But I will say that this whole forbidden door concept, which is feel however you want about it, we've got all these companies working together. Like tonight, I think Camille is at AAA for
Yep.
Triple Mania, right? And
Yep.
she's challenging for the Reina de Reina title, correct?
Yes.
You've
With a contracted Impact Knockout, who is a champion there, who is one half of the Impact Knockouts
Knockouts tag team champions.
and Camille, who is the
NWA.
holder of the Burke, the NWA World Women's title. So that's a 3-company mixture right there, which is great to see.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I think there's some other AEW people who have traveled there to be part of that. So it's gonna be. I think it's cool. Like we're in for a special time in wrestling where all these people are working together, and Triple H being who he is and understanding the business of cross promotions.
Yeah,
never been a time in wrestling where we've seen more of a chance of WWE working with more companies.
Absolutely.
In my opinion, especially in modern era.
Yep.
And if anyone can handle working with multiple companies, it'd probably be Japan, since they already send stuff all over the world anyway, so they might as well, do business all over the world.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm super excited about all that stuff. I was very, very, very excited to see LA Knight get his name back. We got he's never going to be Eli Drake because that's his intellectual property, and LA Knight is his WWE.
Let me talk to you. Yeah.
But he is essentially Eli Drake in WWE. He was able to return to his full personality. He defeated Mansoor this week. But I like that they didn't just throw him out there. I like that it took 2 or 3 episodes of him getting frustrated with the maximum male model thing, and then finally just being like, screw you guys, I'm going to do my own thing. And he comes out as LA Knight doing the whole thing. It was well done, and I'm happy for him because he's money.
And he immediately heals the audience too.
Yeah.
He immediately set that precedent. Don't call me.
I didn't do this because of you.
Don't cheer for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I've said it before on the show. Mrs. Front Row and I and Gary and everybody, we were at all the NWA tapings for the first few seasons, and in the room, he is electric. Like, he is unbelievable. He's so engaging, so entertaining. I'm excited to see what he's going to do next.
Yep.
All right. So anything else, WWE, before we move on to some Dynamite and Rampage?
No, nothing for me. I mean, you covered the Sami Zayn.
Well, we should mention. Yeah, but I'd just like to mention that NXT is coming back around. I just watched the show today. I caught up on it from Wednesday. It's just really good. A lot of good stuff. Now the music starts, right? Show start. Next Tuesday will be the go home show for NXT for Halloween Havoc on Saturday. Week from tonight,
cool.
Halloween Havoc. Just watch it. It's going to be really good. Let me mute.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that too. Like, I talk to a lot of people. We talk to a lot of people in our Discord. If you're not in the Discord, go check out our Twitter, and it's in our profile. Go join up there.
Link bio.
Discord.gg/The Nation's Corner.
That's right. Very good. But a lot of people in there are super excited about the new NXT, and they feel like the direction since Triple H has taken over for creative of WWE and Stephanie as CEO. Shawn Michaels is working there. They've got a different creative team there. And what they've done is they've reconnected the brands where there's now a cohesive journey of somebody coming up through NXT. And we just saw Roxy. We saw Roxanne on, shout out to Roxanne. She's a Mission Pro person. She did big things in Mission Pro, and then went over and became the Ring of Honor Women's Champion, and then went to NXT, and now she's on SmackDown. I mean, it's awesome. I love all that.
Awesome. I'm happy for her.
Poor
She really
Jada
killed it
coming
as
up
Ring
to
of Honor
Raw.
Women's Champion.
Jade to Raw. Can I cancel him now?
Yes, please do.
Look, I have all the respect in the world for Jade as an athlete. I do. But come on.
Yeah.
You put her against the top 10 women in WWE and it would not go well for her.
Yes.
Not yet. She'll get there, but she's not there yet.
Yes.
So over on Dynamite, and I don't know how I feel about Jericho as Ring of Honor champion. I do like the way that they're continuing to remind the fans that Ring of Honor is a thing. Like, I like seeing the brand on TV. But
I think the only reason they put the belt on Jericho was because he's been on TV a lot. So that they don't have to have him defend it or anything. They can just have him there with it.
I have so many words, and to bite into what Bully has said on Busted Open numerous times. If you're one of those Ring of Honor fans that just screams at the mountaintops because you don't like it, well, that you're gotten. They got you for it, and I'm one of those fans. As much as I understand why they did it and why it's happening, and I've loved the progressive, story, and just Jericho being that asshole. He hit Kerry Silken. He gave Bobby Cruz the Judas effect. He keeps
took out Tony Schiavone.
Tony Schiavone. He just keeps shitting on that title, and that title is the original title. Like
yeah,
that's
it's not
great.
Yeah.
But I as much as I understand it, and I know it's going somewhere, it's leading to a bigger picture, I still just can't. I still just can't be a fan of it. The purist in me of Ring of Honor from the old days, I can't. I know somebody's eventually going to beat him for it. I know it's not going to be soon, but the thing that bothers me the most is the cheating to win the match. I understand why, because he's a heel. He's supposed to desecrate the sanctity and the Ring of Honor and the code of honor. But I'm just like, I can't. I can't like it.
Okay,
so he's not a wrestler. He's a sports entertainer.
Yeah. Trenda and your wife with the comments they each just made, spot on. But I still can't. I just need to see somebody take it off of him.
Okay, so I'm not always the biggest fan of the storytelling in AEW. Having said that, you have Jericho, who is, as you said, shitting all over the history of the company. He's doing all these terrible things. This is basic heel 101. He's really doing the most basic wrestling thing ever. And everybody's buying it because they know behind the scenes that Tony Khan is looking for a TV deal. And eventually we're going to see a Ring of Honor product. And at some point you're going to see that we've already seen a Ring of Honor pay-per-view over the summer. We're probably going to see another one at some point, maybe soon. Is there any better, or at this point, anybody in Ring of Honor, anybody on the roster could be built up to beat Jericho and be a babyface, just the way he's working, right?
Yep.
That's the thing. We don't know the Ring of Honor roster.
Well, there isn't really there's a
roster. It's they can come in and they can get a shot
and looks like they're doing like all the past champions. So any of the past champions could show up at any time.
That's perfect. I love that. Like, I love that that he wants all the champions. I love it. I just can't buy into the heel, the basic heel 101 of just cheating to win and not getting the code of honor. I understand it, I get it, but it's just that whole watching Ring of Honor from way back, because you guys know, because I've said it on Zoom, say it here, my friend that I went to when we had the Philly trip last year. I brought my friend with me. He is the one that introduced me to Ring of Honor, that brought me back into being a wrestling fan. That's why. That right there is why I hate it, but I know it, I understand it, and I'm enjoying it.
Me too. I'm excited to see what they're going to go with it, because I think that they have an opportunity to really build up somebody as your babyface champion, and the money is always in the babyface chasing a heel champion, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, and I see Mrs. Front Row in the chat asking, are they backfilling Punk's spot? And Punk was the AEW champion when he was injured.
Right.
But it is possible that they might have had plans for him to lose to Mox and then challenge Jericho for that title and then become the Ring of Honor champion. I wouldn't have minded that at all. That would have been a good spot for him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even Mox would have fit in Ring of Honor. I mean,
yeah, but Punk is a Ring of Honor guy. Like, I mean, he's like the epitome of the Ring of Honor guy. So, I don't know what's going on with him. I know he's injured. Like, we don't know what the status of the company is, or if he's coming back or anything. But
no,
if he does come back, there's definitely some spots where he would work well, and that is one of them. I would agree.
and with Jericho challenging past champions, we could still get them boys.
Well,
yeah. Mark was never.
No, but if you get one, you're going to get both of them. You know that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
True. Yeah. So Jericho defeated Danielson this week to retain the Ring of Honor championship. Obviously cheating. I am not a fan of the Wardlow and Samoa Joe team up, although I am a big fan of both of them. I think they did a really good job this year of building Wardlow up like several levels. Like, at one point, he was one of the most popular people in the company. And Samoa Joe is Samoa Joe.
Yes.
I'm not crazy about this team up. I don't think either one of these guys make good tag team wrestlers currently.
No. But
Name sounds semi cool, but other than that,
yeah.
I think the match of Dynamite for me that was really eye-opening was Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, because as we know, the story that they were telling was Christian Cage and Jungle Boy and all that stuff, and of course Christian got hurt, so they had to sort of switch things up. But I like, because they were telling the story about how Luchasaurus had come back around to Jungle Boy's side, but then Christian got hurt and they had to swap everything around and turn him again, which was sudden, but they had to do what they had to do. So, but this was a killer match.
And I really enjoyed the commentary. They they really started to, how they referenced it on Thursday mornings, Busted Open, how they listen. Like, they really, the commentary with Tony and Taz and Excalibur, was just awesome for that match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just want to go back 1 second. My wife also throws in the name of Bryan Danielson as possible Ring of Honor champion. Yes, please.
Absolutely.
Just yes. The answer is yes. Make it happen. And
Yeah. The thing about that story that gets me is there's Jericho wants every Ring of Honor champion, but he can't, because a few of them. There's a few that are just contractually obligated. They're contracted to companies that the company will not let them come for that title.
Yeah, because PCO is over in Impact.
Yeah. Kevin Steen,
Seth Rollins,
Kevin Steen, El Generico, AJ Styles, just those few people. Kyle O'Reilly, but Kyle O'Reilly's injured, so he should be coming back.
Did Tyler Black ever hold the ring?
Yeah, well, Seth Rollins.
Yeah. As much as I don't like him, and he's not very well liked probably around wrestling, the guy that slammed into you last December when we were at NWA, Austin Erie.
Yeah.
You know, he
Oh, it was Rat Titus slammed into me.
Titus. Yeah. You know, Kenny
Via
King.
Austin.
Yeah.
But they have some people in their company that could do it. You know, Adam Cole, Samoa Joe. You know, those Matt Taven now, him coming back. But you know,
Yeah. Okay, so let's fast forward to, so there was a tag match with Hikaru Shida and Tony Storm versus Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Decent match. It was fine. I feel like they're focusing on only 4 or 5, maybe 6 people across several TV shows, because next week the team that we saw this week are facing each other for the title, which is a very an old WWE thing to do.
Yeah.
Hikaru Shida is challenging Tony Storm for that interim world title. You know, and we don't know yet what the timeline is for the return of Thunder Rosa, but she is our current AEW Women's World Champion. So at some point, whoever holds that title is going to have to face her for a unification match. I like this matchup next week, but I don't know. I'm just not a fan of the interim championship, and I feel like they just keep rotating the same 4 or 5 people in this spot. And although we said it on the show last week, big fan of Willow, and I hope they keep giving Willow Nightingale more and more screen time. We didn't see her, I don't think, but yeah. And once again, I will say the Acclaimed are as over as I've seen anybody in a very long time. They come out and people just lose their shit. Like, they are super over, and they're good wrestlers too, so they can back it up. If they keep on the run that they're on now, they're going to keep printing money for a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
Huge fan. They won me over. I thought it was stupid at first, but I've completely bought in over the last few weeks, and they've hooked me. It's I'm a big fan, you know, but now you can't anymore.
Yeah, the whole Mark Sterling storyline. Yeah,
exactly.
Right. So what happened? All right.
Mark Sterling and Tony Nese came out and filed a cease and desist, claiming that they now own the copyright to scissoring in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Nese now owns the copyright to scissoring in wrestling, as per Mark Sterling's words.
Right.
And they showed up that nice paper that they had framed, you know. So now you can't scissor. So
all you out there scissoring might be getting cease and desist letters from Mark Sterling here before long.
Forget Mark Sterling. I'm still gonna scissor.
Scissor.
You know? I'm still gonna scissor. You know. If Mark Sterling wants to give me one, I'll go meet him on Long Island and I'll show him what he can do with that paper.
You show him how to scissor.
Exactly.
What a perfect thing to do. Whenever you have something that's super over, the crowd likes, the best thing a heel can do is take it away. Yep. And they found an interesting way to do it here. So
yeah,
I wanted to mention, and I forgot to mention, the backstage segments on Raw with DX to open the show was awesome. And a lot of people miss this, but at the very end, when X-Pac and Road Dogg and
Shawn Michaels
walked out, Triple H says to them, "But don't get any fights." And it was a moment that was just a little bit of a nod to the fights that had happened over in AEW. To me, that's what they were talking about, because that wasn't really a thing there. They don't really have fist fights in Gorilla that we hear about, but they ring the Gorilla position, and Triple H makes that comment, and I was like, oh man, that is perfect. But that was great because it was recorded, and they said, well, we can't curse, and they proceeded to, censored, but they cursed up a storm, and it was funny.
Yep.
There's a cock hanging out over there. See?
Yeah.
4. There's 4, and they go over this 4 rubber chickens. Yeah, it was very sophomoric. It was very just a little nod to the Attitude Era. But when they first panned to Triple H, he has the headset on, the glasses. He's like producer guy, like he's running the show. Yeah.
Did the cock just pop up on your screen?
Yep. I popped my cock out live on TV on YouTube.
Man, we're gonna get canceled.
Yeah.
We don't have sponsors. That's okay.
There goes the whole show.
I might as well eat like Tommy Dreamer there.
So it was overall it was a pretty fun week. I did want to give a shout out to all of our friends over at Mission Pro Wrestling. You know, we're all gearing up for the December 10th Silver Bells 2 pay-per-view. They announced this week, or they had announced it on their show last week, but I saw the match graphics for the main event for that show will be Genocide defending her title against the Kick Team and Janai Kai. I'm very excited that not only that match is going to happen, but we're going to see it live. Neil will be there. Ari will be there. I'll be there. I think we have 10 or 12 people traveling to Texas to see this. So it's going to be a cool show. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, Dave Lickreck is going to be getting in the ring with a partner to be named at some point against JP Harlow and his manager. We don't know what that's going to be, but I've heard rumors about several different people. Dave LaGreca knows a lot of people in wrestling, so who knows? Maybe it's Wardlow. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know, he's got a few Hall of Fame co-hosts that were on Impact that he could give a phone call to. You know,
that is true. Yeah, he knows a lot of people. Will those people be willing to travel to Texas to defend his honor? We'll see. Who knows?
Maybe he can make a call to the doctor.
Who can say? It's a maybe at best, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
Go watch the MJF interview to get that joke. All right, guys. Before we wrap, you guys anything else you guys want to talk about?
I just want to say that well, you guys know, last Friday, not yesterday, but the Friday before, I traveled up to Albany for Impact Bound for Glory pay-per-view. And myself and
Chad.
Chad from Albany, shout out Chad. We had a great time. I found front row seats, you know, because I gotta live the gimmick, you know. Just Impact is amazing live. I know, like they say on the show, not a lot of people get it because it's not on, you know, normal TV. You gotta search it out, but just search it out because great wrestling, great product, just amazing.
Yeah, we watched some of the pay-per-view. I know everybody was watching on Zoom, and it was really good. Every time I buy an Impact pay-per-view, and I don't watch their regular product, the pay-per-views always deliver. They're always great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Impact, some of the best wrestling that nobody sees.
And as was mentioned on the show, they definitely have a very strong women's division.
Yes.
Yes.
It's and I've been saying that. We've been saying that for a long time.
Jordan Grace is your champ, and you have people like Masha Slamovich coming up. I'd say they got a pretty good.
Yeah, they've got a lot of great people over there.
Yes, they do.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you had fun. I want to give a shout out to all of our peeps in Baltimore, our peeps in at CCW tonight, at VPW. We've got
beautiful Bayshore, Long Island.
Bayshore, Long Island. Yes.
It's not
right. It's wrestling. You're supposed to pretend it.
If you see a Mavis Discount Center, you're in a bad part of town.
Hey, kayfabe there, you know.
Nice. All right. So, where can people find you on the socials?
You can find me at Dead Ahead RA on almost all platforms. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
Neil?
Right there. Tweet Neil on Twitter. Instagram, Craft Beer Neil, because you guys know I love my craft beers. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Mike?
You can find me at Mongrovian Mike, and I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys can see a little VP wrestling. How's that look?
Nice.
It
looks like fun.
Yeah. Should be there with
Big Boofa, the New York State champ. He's fighting. Of course, we're down on the mat now. We don't see him.
Awesome.
That's the crowd, man. It's a
Live wrestling on the Nation's Corner.
I love it. Looks like a good crowd. Nice. All right. Thanks, Mike.
I love them. Love you guys. I'll talk to you in a little while, man.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Great nation.
Yeah. And I am PW Front Row across the socials. Again, I want to give a shout out. Thanks to Sam Roberts for letting us use that content tonight. Go look up the interview that he did with MJF, and I promise it'll be worth your time. Go look at the Bray Wyatt stuff that he put up last week. It sort of walks you through the timeline right up until what we're seeing now. And you can find us. You can see us at the bottom. We are at Nation's Corner on Twitter and at The Nation's Corner across all the socials. We'll see you guys again next week. Have a good one, peeps.